What were the age ranges that these people were posting?
Everything.
Like, we're talking babies on up?
Everything, yeah. I'm going to jail for the rest of my life.
Well, I'm getting you some help.
No, I'm going to jail for the rest of my life.
The creator of Predator Poachers and the man who made this happen. We're glad to have partnered up with him. Alex Rosen. Mr. Rosen, can you see and hear me, sir?
Yes, yes.
All right. Thanks for being. We appreciate it. Glad to be here. Just so you know, you have a huge fan here in Josh. He watches your stuff all the time.
Love it.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate it.
Do you feel like you could teach that hack Chris Hansen a thing or two because you're doing it on your own?
Well, I mean, I could teach him about hard work and showing up to court and not getting arrested for that. But other than that, I can't really teach him how to not cheat on his wife because I wouldn't know how to do that. But he has that kind of down.
Well,
Funny, dude.
I think we all know how to do it. You just don't.
Right.
It doesn't require a manual, just a moral compass. So let me ask you, Alex. As people see this, there are always going to be individual bad actors. How widespread of a problem is this as someone who works in this day in and day out?
Well, it's widespread of a problem that guy that y'all showed, Alan, we caught him March 20th, and now it's March 24th, and since him, we've caught 5 other people in 2 other states in the span of just a few days.
Wow.
And I mean, we're on a trip right now where we're hopefully going to get 30 people in the span of 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks across I think 10 or 12 different states. And we could get even more if we wanted to. It's just we have to get home at some point.
Right.
On one decoy account, I was on an InfoWars show and I showed Rob how many people hit up one decoy account since noon of that day. It's 25 people texting in a span of a few hours, and we could be talking to over 100 people at any given time, and it could be more if we just had the manpower to do it. So,
right.
Yeah, there's endless amounts of them. We already acknowledge that we're not going to stop the problem, but we can only make a dent in certain communities, and we can make small differences, and that's what counts.
Well, you can make small differences, and I wouldn't say they're small because God only knows. You catch one person, you have no idea how many people have been impacted by the evil misdeeds. And then, obviously, hopefully we can help not only provide a tailwind here with a platform, but also, we do have some contacts with legislators, and they'll be paying attention. So let's kind of get to I guess, a little bit of a larger umbrella here. Just like with this man Doherty, it seems that there is evidence on a lot of these people out there, right?
Yes.
And the evidence to the untrained eye, you go, well, that would seem like they have them dead to rights, but they get plea bargains. A lot of them don't get any jail time. Why?
Well, so prosecutors, they don't look at, there are a few that look at it as this is a bad person, he needs to go to jail. And those prosecutors are freaking awesome.
Right.
But a lot of prosecutors look at it as hey, I just want to win. I just want to have a conviction in my column versus a loss. So I compare it to this, I think I'd rather play a basketball game, win by 50 points, than have the other team forfeit. But a lot of these DAs just rather have the other team, which is the defendant, forfeit.
Right.
And that's what it is. They're hey, just forfeit if I'll give you this little sweet plea deal. So that's why we get a lot of sex offenders. We caught another person in that babies group the day after we caught Alan. Same exact group, just 2 hours away in Fort Worth. And that's another guy. He molested 2 kids and was out of prison in 5 years. And that was also on a plea deal. So, prosecutors a lot of them really don't look at the bigger picture. They don't really look at the impact of how soft on crime they are. Because, when we think of soft on crime, we think of oh my God, this DA in Austin, Texas isn't charging this person.
Right.
But no, soft on crime is they do get charged, they get prosecuted, then, they're just out of sight, out of mind. Then they're back on the streets in a year, or even not ever off the streets in the first place, like Alan wasn't.
Right.
So, yeah, they just care about winning more than actually making a difference. That's a freaking problem.
Right. And then they'll campaign and say, I'm not soft on crime. Look at my record. And then when you look into the actual records, you say, oh, that's you mean the pedophile who molested 2 children who just got probation. You keep in mind that Dinesh D'Souza went to a minimum security a prison that was on house arrest with an ankle bracelet for giving more than the legally permissible amount to a friend for a Senate race that they lost. And then you have people who molest multiple children. You don't live in a free country. If you have laws, you live in a free country if they are applied equally. Let me ask you this. What can be done? And then I want to get into some laws because I was surprised by some of them, especially even in the great state of Texas. First, what do you think can be done to at least pressure DAs to prosecute to the full extent of the law? What is it that someone watching right now can do?
Well, I think it's as easy as spreading a video and calling them and ask. Like, I mean, the DA's office it's a public number. People just need to come together and do it. There's a lot of people that sideline sit and just think like, oh, Steven Crowder's going to do something, Alex Rosen's going to do something. We're just one people. We're just one person each. We can't do everything. It takes a whole team to do it. Anybody can make a difference, and I would literally just encourage you to call and ask why. Because if you stay on their butts about it, they'll have to respond. Like we had a guy, Clyde Allen, in Abilene, Texas. We caught him in 2022. He got arrested for online solicitation of a minor trying to meet our 11-year-old decoy. Cops arrest him, find 50 images of child porn on his phone, and one of them he sent to another pedo of him holding a baby naked in his arm, and he sent a naked picture of himself doing that to another pedo, and he got a plea deal. He didn't get any prison time, and he moved to like near Houston. And if you call that DA and ask, hey, why was Clyde Allen, who had 50 images of child porn, and if that was prosecuted to the fullest with the solicitation of a minor, because the solicitation of a minor is 20 years in prison if prosecuted to the fullest. Each image of child porn, at least federally, can be 5 years. He could have gone to prison to life, but he got a plea deal where he had no prison time.
Wow.
Just calling and asking, hey, why was Clyde Allen let free? That's Taylor County. That's Abilene, Texas. Why was he let free? That right there can make them scramble. I mean, even us tagging people on Twitter just makes them go crazy. So It doesn't take much, but it just takes something.
Well, exactly. Unfortunately, there's the court and there's the court of public opinion, and they use the court of public opinion often against people who are innocent. For example, we've talked about Trevor Bauer, who lost a $100 million baseball contract for a sexual assault. Not only that he never committed, but the attorney of the opposing side knew that he never committed it. They released faked pictures with makeup anyway. Trevor Bauer ended up winning. They had to pay his legal fees, but he doesn't win because he lost a contract and his name was ruined forever. So the court of public opinion is often very abused, but this is a scenario where if the laws aren't being enforced, it not only is appropriate, but it's necessary if you're going to protect your community. Some states, looking into this, some of the laws, they defy reason to me. For example, I didn't know that in Texas, it's not actually illegal to send naked pictures to a minor, to a child here in Texas, if I'm understanding that correctly. It's not against the law for someone to send, dick pics to a kid, right?
Yes, to who they believe to be a child. So we had a sex offender get off, actually, that we caught, no arrest or anything. I forgot it. His name's escaping me. It was in June 2023. He met up with who he thought was a 10-year-old girl, and he sent tons of penis pictures to us posing as a 10-year-old, admitted to wanting sex with her, but not the first time, only the next time. Like, he wanted to kidnap her. He admitted to that as well. And if you just type in that video on Rumble, Predator Poachers Columbus, Texas, that's the video, Predator Poachers Columbus. And he did not get arrested, even though the detective wanted to, because she's like, well, he wasn't meeting up for sex in that moment, and the dick pics itself aren't illegal. So I want to bring this up. So y'all talk about California. California is a terrible state with sentencing, don't get me wrong, but there's even a law in California, penis pictures to who he thinks a minor, 208.2, makes the crime is harmful or cheap material to a minor with intent of sexual arousal or to have sex with them. We have people arrested in California just off the dick pics. And in Texas, that couldn't have happened to a sex offender. So that needs to change.
Yeah, that does need to change. It's kind of incredible that that's not the case. I guess they thought he was a romantic child molester because he's like, not in the first date. I'm going to wait because it makes the sexual assault more special. Yeah, Gerald, you have a question.
Yeah, and just this is something that I want to kind of pause on for just a second here, because obviously, if California is doing it better than us, that's a horrible. It's
very rare.
To be. It's very rare, but it's a horrible place to be. Alex, this is our state, right? We're Texans. Mm-hmm. This is something that we can sink our teeth into. This has to change. When Larry Nassar was able to abuse a decade's more women after being found out, after people coming to the feds, after the FBI interviewing women, the public perception was they should have done more then. I don't want to wait until then, because like you said, these guys are getting back out. They're going about their business. The recidivism rate is insane. How are you guys working on anything right now specifically to change these laws in the states that we can get behind? Can we start something together right now, right here on air, to find out how we can change the law here in Texas?
Yes, let's do it. I tried to go last year I went to the Capitol building. I knocked on tons of doors of both Democrat and Republican legislatures. I talked to their staff about, hey, this is a loop. This was right after we caught the guy in Columbus. He got off. That really sat terribly with me. And I even corresponded with the detective in Columbus. And I was like, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm sick of this shit. And she's like, I mean, she was all for it too. She was very disappointed the guy couldn't have been arrested. And I tried knocking on doors. I got in touch with a lot of people, and none of them really followed up on anything.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking with a platform like this, we can put some,
Yes.
the America First ones, quote unquote. Let's see how that is.
Yeah.
We can light a fire under their butt and make them do something about this.
Yeah.
'Cause all I'm asking is we just take California Penal Code 288.2, just copy and paste it into a Texas law, and I think there'd be a lot more pedos behind bars if that was the case.
You'd think we'd find some common ground on that. That would be the platform I would run on. And
100%.
Every pedo behind bars. Every child. By the way, people fail to realize there are more slaves than ever on Earth right now. Over 40 million slaves, and a lot of them are sex slaves. You don't think that Signal allowing these groups to exist, or other social media companies being soft on these because of modern, ever-increasing sexual orientations, you don't think that enables it? Of course it does. Of course it does, and there needs to be some that we can...
We're going to reach out. So
Yes.
here, Alex, if you're on board with this, we're going to reach out to these guys, and when we don't get anything done, the public is going to know about it. Hey, we reached out to make sure that this law got changed. You, sir, did nothing about it. You didn't even get back to us. Or you got back to us with a platitude and didn't do anything about it. You, ma'am, didn't do anything about it. We're looking for people who want to act, and we're going to expose the people who don't.
Yep.
This is a problem in our community that can be easily solved. And if you're going to spend any time in a legislative session on BS stuff that nobody cares about, this needs to be solved first. This problem first.
Well, and this brings me to another point that I have. This reminds me of, and I wasn't able to watch all of it. There's a documentary on the Jared from Subway situation. I believe it was the FBI. I don't want to be misquoted. It was either the FBI or CIA. I'm 90% sure it was the FBI. They ruined this woman's life, who they had, be sort of the sting operator for Jared from Subway. They had her talk with Jared from Subway, where he admitted to molesting children. He talked about what he did in Thailand. He asked her to bring her own children to him so that he could sexually molest them. And it was incredibly disturbing. And the FBI said, no, we can't do anything yet. And anytime he calls you on the phone, you have to drop off right away the tapes. So at 2 a.m, she has to go and give the FBI the tapes. She has to go and do their work for them. And she's like, look, I can't keep doing this. This is a legitimate situation, not a Pinterest post where she's saying this is harming my mental health. He's asking to molest my children. We have set a time and a place. I don't want to have to go to this. They're going, no, you have to do this for us to catch him. And they use this lady as a pawn and destroy her life. When they need to be doing their own jobs. This brings me to the fact that some states actually have laws that prevent people like you from doing your jobs, right?
Yes. So we had a guy in New Mexico 2 days ago. He came to a hotel room to meet who he thought was a 13-year-old girl. He brought a camera, and he said that he brought a digital camera because it did not connect to the internet. He was very careful with that. He told us that explicitly. I got this camera so it doesn't connect to the internet because I don't want anything to be tapped. He brought lingerie and a used dildo for who he thought was going to be a 13-year-old girl. He blatantly admits everything to us. And the cops come, and due to the New Mexico state law, and I'm actually in touch with a state rep there, big shout out to Stephanie Lord, due to the law in New Mexico saying that it has to be a cop or a real kid on the other end of these messages, our chats could not be used to arrest him. And the cop was very disappointed about it. And this self-proclaimed pedophiles and self-proclaimed Satanist was just let go after blatant intent to go rape a kid.
Wow. Well, can't you just have a cop come in and send the one last text? Could they do that? Or my guess is they wouldn't be allowed to do that because it would have to go through a chain of command and go through red tape. Like, hey, put in one text officer so that it's a real cop on the other line. But a lot of them, I would imagine, are hamstrung too.
Yeah, no, the cops are definitely held back. I mean, even big cities, I mean, the amount of sting operations they do every year is pretty minuscule to how many resources they have. And I don't think it's the cops or the detectives' fault. It's more of just the budget just doesn't go to that, or they're told just don't do it. And I mean, there's really a lot left on the table with all these pedos walking free. I mean, it's pretty crazy that most of the people we get are not sex offenders, including that guy in New Mexico. He had no prior history.
Right. Jeez. It is unreal. I mean, unfortunately, the way that these departments work, it's based on civilian interactions. And someone who gets 5 or 6 word speeding tickets in one shift is more than catching one pedophile. And I had a former police officer who said, I had to leave because of that. He had one night where he actually, his one interaction was a woman who was raped. And his other 2 interactions that night were a witness and the rapist confessing. And they said, you haven't been getting enough civilian interactions at this point. This was in Michigan, at least. Look at so-and-so. He's getting 6, 7, 8 a night. You're saying, yeah, but he just sets up a speeding trap. I'm actually trying to catch criminals. And so it makes it tough for good police officers to do their job. It's not about the man with guns. It's about the men with pens, or women, or Z's. And this brings us to also social media companies. Think about this for a second. You have social media companies who regularly hand over information to authorities or regularly ban people for political perspectives, right? We've seen it. We've talked about it. And people go, well, they can do whatever they want. Well, our position has always been, okay, the standard should be the law. For example, investigative journalism. If it's done in a single-party consent state, social media companies should respect that. They don't. If they benefit from Section 230 as a platform, they shouldn't be able to censor political viewpoints. They do. However, they do have some data on these criminals. So, for example, between 2022 and 23, Meta removed like 27, I believe, pedophile networks, sex offender networks. When they discover and they shut down these child porn groups, considering that we know they've handed information over data all the time, are they passing this data on to law enforcement? And if not, shouldn't they?
Well, that's what they claim they're doing. That's not what I necessarily believe they're doing. So we had an account of a 9-year-old girl on Instagram, and every single person following that account, we believe, was very deep into child pornography. Because we think we found a ring last year where we caught a guy in Las Vegas with 50,000 images. The day before that, we got his friend arrested in Tucson, Arizona. They were like friends with each other online, both with tons of child pornography, and both are convicted at this point. But yeah, I mean, I don't think so. Anyway, it was like people like that were following that page, right? And then we just noticed that 1,000 followers are just disappearing. It'd be like, okay, now we have 1,500 followers, 1,400 followers. Like, they're just dropping off like flies. And we're thinking, oh my God, we're getting revealed. They're passing our username around. But it wasn't that. Instagram just did a purge of a bunch of accounts. And none of those people that we know of even got arrested. I don't think Instagram reported them. I just think they deleted the accounts and were like, oh, look, we deleted this. We did something. But all that really does is it pushed them deeper underground to encrypted apps that we don't really want to mess with. Right. Because on Instagram, we can just, chill there. We're not really liable to receive any potentially illegal images and stuff like that. So that's why we're more comfortable with that. But they just go to these underground apps and they're still doing the exact same thing. And it kind of sucks because on Instagram, I mean, we had all of their identities. We had them like kind of, there's like, it's like a billboard pointing at them saying, I'm a pedo. Right. And now it's like there's some like random like number or letter on some other app. And it kind of sucks. I mean, it's just basically Instagram saying, oh, look at all the good work we're doing while not doing anything. They're like politicians. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't surprise me because we've actually had some run-ins with people who were committing crimes on social media as it related to members at this company. Yep. And nothing was actually done. As a matter of fact, it wasn't a violation. This is before Elon purchased X, revealing personal information and even personal information of minors. And it's very troubling. So look, for everyone out there, and we're going to continue this on Mug Club, but for people who want to support Alex, go to predatorpoachers.com. predatorpoachers.locals.com/support. We'll have the link up there right now. Please go and support Alex. And Alex,
thank you so much.
Well, we actually have a surprise for you. We're getting it started today, so everyone can go to that page by here, Loud with Crowder Mug Club Undercover. We're going to be making a $2,500 donation to keep pedophiles away from kids. Let's say that's what the donation is for.
Dude, thank you so much, Steven. That just probably funded our trip that we're taking with the gas money, or a tank of gas in California, one of the two. So I appreciate it so fucking much, dude.
Well, I don't think that 2009 Ford gets the best gas mileage, or Chevy, whatever it is. Gerald,
well,
yes.
Alex, my team is telling me that you actually had something that you wanted to ask Steven, maybe if he was interested in doing.
Uh-oh.
Well, Steven, this is an open invite to you. I don't know how far you're willing to travel, but if you ever want to come on a bust with us, specifically in DFW, if you're free, just let me know, and it's an open invite.
All right. Okay. Well, if I do it, I have to method act. Like, you have to give me like a propeller cap and a lollipop, dress me up like a sailor.
Yeah, you're just going to be the decoy.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can blend in at Democrat events, I'm sure you could blend in as a kid, too. I mean.
Just use me as the bait, and then they go for lunch. Guys, they're descending upon me.
Thank you so much, man. It really means the world to us.
Oh, absolutely. And I know that this is the first in a long line of many that we'll be doing together. And yes, hopefully I can make the travel work, and it'll work out with my schedule. That just means you'll have to fill in host, Gerald, or Nick. We'll have Nick DiPaolo or... Yeah, I know. Okay. I can't be enough places at once.
I know.
And people can follow you on X. Everybody out there, it's I Fight for Kids is one of his handles. Yep. There's P Poachers Live, and of course on locals at P Poachers. So comment, guys, below. If you're watching right now, if you're on Rumble, because I have no idea if this is still on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, if we're still allowed up there, I have no idea today. You never know. It's one of those days where I go back and they tell us if we're still up. Comment if you're donating, because Alex is out there doing a lot of good work.
Watch Louder with Crowder live Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.